this is the Patriotic Canadian, and today we're going to continue to take a look at a scenario where civilization started over. In the last episode, we saw exploration occur over here near France and Iberia, with a lot of land being discovered and claimed alongside England. More lands in the Nordics were explored and conquered. The entire world got explored and conquered as people were found over here in Egypt, although a big army was founded fleeing east. Who knows, from India, China, Korea, Persia, like anywhere in Asia could be coming from. Heck, could be coming from freaking Australia. So if you enjoy this, please consider leaving a like and subscribe, as we're trying to reach 30 subscribers by the end of the summer, or September 8th. So let's start this episode. To start off, I updated all the layers. Religion, the ethnic, the ideology layers updated. So all the layers are really updated. Alright, so, where do I want to start first? Yeah, let's start. Where should I start? Let's start off over in Italy. Italy is continuously being discovered around here, and yes, all of these islands, Corsica, Sardinia, will be discovered alongside these mountains. Now I'm gonna try something. Can I? Oh yeah, I can. Okay, so I'm gonna try this because beforehand it was a vertical rectangle, so now I'm gonna try a horizontal rectangle. See how that works. We see more of Iberia will be discovered, as we see just some people will just go around the entirety of Iberia. As we actually see the Pyrenees will be discovered, thanks to mainly Aquitaine. As we see it's just a lot of the Mediterranean will be discovered. These all throughout here will be discovered. I don't know why there's blue there. About here. About all this will be discovered. Except for down here, which is pretty mountainous. Up here in the north will be discovered. And now let's move back over here to Western Europe before I go all the way over here to freaking Caspian Sea. Yeah, we see, about all this to be claimed by, them. But we do by the Aquitanians, although the South French will kind of ask, hey, can we have some parts on here? They're like, yeah, sure, we don't really care. And they will also be expanding over here towards Italy, taking the island of Corsica. We see in the north here, there will be the North Portuguese will be expanding greatly down south as new country alert. This is not filter. Down here in the south, this country will be forming up. I'm gonna make it actually more of a that. What do you think? I like that, yeah. Minis on an escalator. Sorry, I just randomly thought of that. But, yeah, about all of this will be discovered throughout here in Iberia, as a Valencian country will be forming up throughout here in Iberia. As Valencia, they kind of just form up because they don't really like Aquitaine, which is really starting to invest here in Iberia because they can't really expand anywhere else. Like, just look at them. at this point, we moved the capital over here to friggin' Iberia. They're huge. As I start to have ideas of expanding up here. Next thing we see is the Romans. They'll be kind of cutting across the Italian peninsula. As, well, at this point, they start to fear less of Florence. Because they're starting to understand more that, yeah, we're actually still pretty strong ourselves, too. So, if Florence tried anything, we put up a really good fight. And Florence also realizes this and kind of like, it's not really worth a war to, invade these guys when we can just much easily, expand to the unexplained land. Well, down here in the south, they'll be very aggressive as these two countries are very similar in strength. Excuse me. So we see, let's be explored. Sicily, we claimed as this island of Sardinia, the Roman government will come out and take it for themselves. Next thing we see is a seafoam Croatian country forming up. As, yeah. Next thing we must do will be putting on the rivers and mountain layers, because I had those on previous. Serbia. Do we making an expansion, meeting up with the ocean, well, Adriatic, as they link up with that river. Hungary, we'll see that they can't really expand anywhere else, so they'll just, expand a bit more southwards, alongside Polska, who is really starting to dominate this Transylvanian region. They'll be taking here. Hungary will be taking there. Serbia will be taking here. Well, the rest of the mountains will go over to Romania, which is starting to become really big and really powerful and really unstable. Serbia will be annexing here. As these islands will actually all go over to Serbia just because I feel like it. What else? Oh, yes. Albania. Albania. They will be, they'll be annexing all of this land down here near Greece. Now, this really peeves off the Greeks who are like, we kind of wanted some of that land, but, whatever, it's fine. We can use our navy to capture this island. Well, these two islands will go over to Turkey. Next thing we see is actually that the Romans want to make better trade establishment with the Eastern world, because since they are actually one of the main countries, Romania, are like, ooh, we really want to, see out there. They're like, what's going on out there? And so what will happen will be the Romanians, the Romans, and Egypt will all be partnering up. They'll all be partnering up to explore out this way. They decide to start from this river, and they decide to go down the river. As they both realize, they all realized that it was going to take a while, but they found something. As the Egyptians here are like, well, this is certainly interesting. So they go to a local man here, and they ask this local man, they ask, can you give us a map of the country you're in? Because they think, it might just be over here near, Persia, kind of, all in the lands that you know of. Just give us one of your maps, kind of, because Egyptian is still very popular, a language that's still very talked. Well, okay. Okay, so they're expanding to Persia a little bit, they're over here in Persia, Okay, they're pretty deep into Central Asia. Okay, they're in India. The Mesopotamians are in India. This isn't the Mesopotamians. Okay, this is not the Mesopotamians. That's very safe to say. This, if you could not tell, was the said empire. No, this is the empire I was talking about earlier. The Indus Empire. This empire is huge. To give you a rough, okay. So, they recently just conquered over here near Mesopotamia. And, they also plan to invade over here. Navally, they know a lot about they know about a lot of stuff too with water. They don't know about Sri Lanka though, because Sri Lanka is a bit too far away for this country that doesn't really have any ideas. So the land, but it's practically, this is a very large empire, and I'm starting to really lose my energy for recording, if you can't tell. So I'm probably going to start recording soon enough. But this is known as the Indus Empire. If you cannot tell, this thing is huge. The largest country in the world by far. So beforehand, it was probably Germanics, which are, pretty impressive. They're quite impressively large. But then you meet the Indus Empire. They have about 3. So the world's population that's I'll say it right now, about 1/4 of it is located over here in the Indus Empire. Why is it called the Indus Empire? It's located on the Indus River system. So this is very interesting. As we see, the reason why this empire is so large, to give you a bit of a lore dump, there was once a very powerful Persian empire throughout here in Persia. The Indus River and the Mesopotamian rivers, so the Tigris and Euphrates, were used as their base of food, and they controlled these lands with an iron fist. Then, one day, a man was born in the Indus River Valley, around here, where the capital city is. Here, we're near where modern-day New Delhi is. He is born, and he has one goal in mind: to free the people of the Indus region. The Indus region. So he starts a revolution. When he's at the age of 16, he starts a revolution in the Indus region, fully freeing the Indus area, which is, mind you, at the time was just the northern region. Then he takes the southern Indus, and then he launches an invasion into Persia. That invasion of Persia goes very successfully, and then he launches an invasion into Egypt. After he left, he went back. On the way back, he decided to conquer Mesopotamia, and then he decided to conquer over here. This is the Indus Empire. Very powerful, very scary, as they go on yet another conquest down here into southern India to link up with more lands as they do that, as they really would like access to the Bay of Bengal. That's what they do. They get access to it through here near Bangladesh, kind of. Very, very scary. Yeah, it's just, the Indus Empire is very, very powerful, but they're starting to go on the decline. Their leader who brought them here, their powerful military genius of a leader, is starting to get very, very old and very sick. So he will decide he wants to wants to launch one last assault onto Egypt. And that's what he'll be doing. He, I'll actually be finishing this later on, as I'm losing my energy to record, as you can tell, because I'm not being very, hyperactive. So I'm gonna come back when I have more energy, probably after. Hello, I'm back. It's been more than like a few weeks since I last recorded. I my lazy bum hasn't been recording, so let's get to stuff done. I had to pause the previous recording and do stuff, but I just practically was me placing down some major cities and mainland Iberia, and also over here near near like in northern Iberia, kind of wants to break away and declare independence. So I'll be doing that. I'll talk to you guys during this, so it's less editing. But we see them. They will be declaring independence from all this land here. And Aquitaine's now peeved, and they're really mad because they're like, that was our whole kind of that was our whole kind of purpose, to be super powerful in Iberia, but Spain, Iberia, but now they don't. Now it's only really here they control, which is already having very a lot of instability around here. Anyways, next I will actually be moving over here to the Indus Empire. See, the Indus Empire has one of the greatest military generals. Think of him like Alexander the Great. But here's something. The Indus Empire is now very unstable. They want to expand eastward, but they fear of tribes over here. And they also don't really want to expand over into Egypt much more. So practically, yeah, they're just scared. So how come? So, yeah. Not much they can really do. So, they decided to explore these mountains here. Because why not? Just to explore all throughout here. And then so at this point, it's not the same guy who unified all of India. Far from it. By the way, this part of the Himalayas is only discovered because it's a lot easier to discover. Although it's still very mountainous. So, the best word is also, I'm probably not part of the Himalayas. I probably have to erase it. So, practically, what happened to this guy, the guy who unified it, was his father. Now he's in charge. And, well, he gets killed. He was assassinated by a man who kind of hated the Indus Empire, causing a huge political dispute happening within the Indus Empire of who's the next king. As we see, the Indus Civil War will be occurring. The first group is over here, or from over here. It claims that their heir to the throne should be the actual heir to the throne of the Indus Empire, due to them being kind of related. It's their cousin, kind of. The next thing we see is over here in Mesopotamia. It's less of a we want this heir to be in charge. No, it's more of a we're breaking away, kind of, over here in Mesopotamia. Over here in Persia, the Persian people will be getting their independence. Okay, I swear I hear something. I swear I heard something. As we see, there's actually one more heir to the throne up here in the northern Indus region. This is his brother. as a lot of people actually want their brother to be taking over the throne, due to his brother being very just as smart as him, militarily wise, and even a little bit more smart, actually. So they want him to take over the empire. Unfortunately, I can't use the same Indus color. Now, what's the remaining of the Indus Empire after this? Well, the remaining Indus Empire is actually of his son. His son is a little bit special, we'll say. And that's the rest that's being supported. So let's look at this civil war. The first thing that we see is that son will be elected the ruler of the Indus Empire. And we'll see that they'll push them back up to this part of the Indus riverbed. Although they'll capture this city and they'll move past this river and into here. Very, very, very powerful. We also see this Indus. We see this region conquers all around here and gets very close to the Gujarat Peninsula, where that child resides for right now. As they decide to push up to this river, the whole defensive. Well, mainly the Indus Empire holds defense to this river. They also hold defense. The Persian people don't like. These are mainly the Persian elites who want this ruler. It's his what is it? Who would it be? It'd be his uncle. But the Persian people don't really want to be under the Indus Empire anymore. So we see Persia will be declaring independence. I don't really want to use that color. I'll use like a blue kind of shade. It's just like a purple. It's a yellow. That looks sickly. It's like a gold kind of color. As you see, the Persian people will be declaring their independence away from this rebellion, causing it just to be horrible. But we do see that the Persians are able to actually quickly capture all of this land away from, yes, where were we? Sorry, again, I got cut off by my phone. But anyways, we just see this Persian rebellion kind of beat all these nobles. As these nobles are strong, yes, but they're not very strong at the same time, though. So they end up getting kicked out of all Persia, with majority of them actually having to go over back to the main Indus Empire, where they'll be tried and killed, as the rest of this Persian rebellion, part, will be given over to the Indus Empire, as these two Persian countries, well, Persia and Mesopotamia will go over to Indus country. I'll go, hey, can we have independence? And this child, mind you, is ruling this country. Like, okay. Which really pisses off some people, because they're like, why are we letting a child rule us? As we also do see in the north, great successes are coming here in the north, as he's now conquered the entire northern Indus region, which is the main See, the majority of the population is in the North Indus, not the South Indus. As we see very shortly afterwards, we see that they reached the Gujarat Peninsula. Now, the kid is in this city, as they will, wrap around the coast and will almost capture this city. And at this point, the Indus Empire is collapsing. Everything besides the Gujarat Peninsula is a part of the rebellions. And we see shortly afterwards they'll enter into the Gujarat Peninsula, decimating everything, capturing this city, and finally, that child, he will be found, and he won't be imprisoned, but he will be executed. Okay, so, yeah. Let's take a look at this, peace treaty. In just a moment. Alright, so we see in this peace treaty, the Indus Empire will be greatly weakened. Now, I need to explain to you why, these two groups made peace despite having different ideas for who the next Indus Empire ruler will be. It's just that this guy, he was just so tired of war. He was like, not fine, you can exist. But that doesn't mean we won't invade you later on. Their capital will be placed right here because there's no major cities over here. Wait. Anyways, the Persians are now back. We'll place their capital right here. Mesopotamia will place their capital up here. Next thing we see will be over here in Europe. More specifically, the Germanics. The Germanics have been the dominant power in Europe for quite a while, having a very large influence over all of Europe. But now that influence is breaking. See, they're starting to face a ton of issues. Mainly, ever since they conquered down here towards the Adriatic, they have faced great issues. And so, they'll be rebelling. A revolution. Yeah, Germany is just falling apart. The Germanics are strong, no doubt about it, but like kinda, when you have great issues in yourself, you're kinda gonna fall into revolution. We see two main different rebellions are actually going to be starting. The first one's going to be a Croatian kind of Slovenian one that wants to unite down here, capturing all throughout here into like southern Austria, kind of. The next one we see will actually not be a revolution, but an invasion. The Hungarians will start invading over towards Austria. Well, that's not good for the all throughout here. Next, a pro-red team revolution, I'm going to darken it a little bit, will be occurring in these lands. See, while they may, be a part of the blue stuff, but they still miss their homes and the red team. So they'll be rebelling. And this will be very awkward borders if they, got their independence. And finally, a new rebellion will occur over here in the Rhine. This will be, started by some high-ranking official here. Near, okay, what can I call this rebellion? I'm going to call this Divine Rebellion. But then finally, the worst of it all, Denmark will be taking a lot of land here. Actually meeting up with this river. Now, why is the Danish doing this? Simple. They see the Germanics are on the collapse. And so, why not take advantage of it? And the Germanics actually just get significantly weaker. It gets to the point that the blue team becomes stronger. And they're still riddled with instability. But the Germanics, man, you really played your card wrong. Just look how bad it is over here. But yeah, the entirety of the northern areas will be captured by the Danish. We see the Rhine Rebellion will kind of just stay here. They don't really feel like expanding outwards. So, the next one we're focusing on is Hungary, as they capture Vienna. Now, that's bad, as the Vienna was a major, port on the Danube. As we actually see, all of here will be captured by Hungary, as they even begin to have ideas to invade into the coastline. But not right now, because they're just a bit too weak, and if they did that, Romania and Poland would probably invade them and partition their land. So, Yeah, and then a coup happened in the capital of Germany. And now now Germany is starting to really just fall into revolution. The entirety of this section of Germany will be gone. Now, the Germanics at this point are now starting to realize why, you don't oppress people. As when the Red Team Rebellion meets up with the Danish, they have interesting relations. They're like, hello, hi. They have interesting relations, to say the least, but they won't kill each other on sight, which is good. Anyway, that Germany will just be flat out collapsing. They can't take it anymore. They're collapsing. They're too weak. There's nothing they can do. They collapse. So, let's take a look at the peace treaty, aka the peace treaty of Stockholm. In this peace treaty, we see a ton of stuff will happen. Let's start with the land game. Start off, we see Hungary will be becoming massive, annexing all of this land. Denmark will annex all of this land, and this border will be fixed. I don't like it. There, I'll fix the province later for it. As the red team will become absolutely huge. Those borders are disgusting. Can you please just do this? Please? Those borders are hideous. No, do that, and then that, and then that. Yeah, totally, we should do that. But no, we cannot. We see, Croatia. By the way, this is like Bosnia, kind of. Now we see the countries forming their independence. The Rhine country, will be forming up. Remember that pink Germanic rebellion? It forms up as a country. And, well, we see the South German country. And finally, this country, leaving Germany to look a little something like that. Yikes. That is not what you want to look like. Let's look at the capitals. Your capital will be placed right over here, right here. Yours will be placed near modern-day Munich, and right here. And yours is right here in your own city. So, ugly borders achieved. Oh yeah, and you need your capital right here. Now, what do I want to do next? Beatbox. Let's try some stuff over here in Anatolia. See, the Romans are actually becoming fairly strong with their navy. Their navy is actually starting to become one of the most powerful in the entire Mediterranean. Well, beforehand there was the Germanics, but now this country has a decent navy because a lot of their naval possessions are over there. But the main naval powers are actually South France, Rome, and I guess you could say Romania, Egypt per se, which we'll do something with Egypt, don't worry. But yeah, we see Rome will actually be expanding their influence inside of the Mediterranean by starting off by taking some more Turkish islands all throughout just some Turkish islands, and also will be sending their navy over towards Valencia for trade, discovering the Balearic Islands. And will be, well, it was for trade, yes, but then they realized we could control trade between the West and the Eastern world, kind of. As we do see all of here will be explored. And the Romans are starting to get a little bit power hungry. Not power hungry, land hungry. as they'll be setting up a few more colonies. Over here in the Balearic Islands, they'll be setting a trading colony up here. Well, that's way too big. Over here in Iberia. That's not good. As, you see, these lands, well, practically, the Romans are becoming very, very dangerous for a lot of countries. As we see, certain countries are starting to really fear Rome. Is this a power? Okay, so, yeah. The next thing we actually do see is the Romans do something. They will make a defensive pact with someone. Well, not a military alliance. Not the Circle Alliance or the Mediterranean Accord. Will be consist of themselves, South France, and Aquitaine. This is the Mediterranean Accord. It's for all countries that border the Mediterranean. You are allowed in. So Egypt could join if they wanted to. Palestine, Israel, what do I call this land without getting myself absolutely bombarded in the comments? Purple Arabian country, yeah. That might be just as offensive. Oh my god, I'm sorry. But yeah, this military alliance is made just for the safety of the Mediterranean, because they fear that other powers like Hungary, or like think of other, like Hungary, Egypt and North Iberia will kind of like threaten their power in the Mediterranean. Now we must move over to England. Why is Wales black? But, yeah, we see everything is discovered up here. Even, up here in Scotland, where it's very mountainous. Mainly discovered just because they could. This Irish civilization? Oh, yeah, it went well. Actually. Exploring all throughout here, and I must figure out why is Wales black. So I must change them back to their original color. Listen. I'm just as confused as anyone else where Wales was black. We see Ireland will be expanding a good amount. Although, they have to worry about this one thing. I want to make it like a teal kind of color. The Scottish Vikings. The Scottish are Vikings. Totally not stolen from a different wick, so I don't know why I don't think that. But the Scottish Vikings are very deadly. And, well, they have had a lot of raids into England, which is not good. As, England would kind of like to not let that happen alongside Wales. But, yeah, Scotland is really just pushing buttons at this point with all these nations. As their Vikingness, kind of, causes them to go across into the North Sea, into Norway. As we do see, they kind of explore this coastline a little, but they don't set up any settlements. Like cities, kind of. The religion there has definitely gotten more interesting as time has gone on. To start off, a lot of people here in the British Isles identify themselves as a part of this religion. As Ireland actually finds the rest of the world, they decide to adopt the religion of the Aquitanians. As people all throughout here in Ireland begin to. And, what else? Oh, yes, Iberian people actually really love this religion here. As a lot of them begin to convert. all of this kind of. And we also see people up here begin to convert too. Even people in the blue religion begin to convert to the yellow religion. Why? Because you'll see why people don't really like the blue religion very much, actually. In just a moment. Well, first off, they have their whole genocidal religion thingy going on in the red team lands. But this is kind of stopped at this point. Even then, the red team religion has kind of expanded back to its former lands a bit. What else? But mainly due to up here in the Nordics. At this point, Denmark is really sick and tired of the people from like Sweden and Norway, like people coming in and saying, we want to become part of Sweden or Norway, because of religious things. So they begin to commit the G word on their religion. And this is bad, like very, very bad, as the already dwindling population of the green religion is now even lower. And this is really just terrible acts, as they'll even go to the extent of going into lands not even claimed by anyone and begin spreading their religion. As we see, the Danish are starting to get a bit cuckoo in their heads. And this is what it'll end up looking like. Oh, good Lord. That's not good. How about the ethnic layer? How is that looking? I'm sure they wouldn't do anything to this ethnic layer, right? Oh, okay. I don't want to fix that kind of. So they are doing things on the ethnic layer. Gotcha. Crap. Yeah, they kind of start killing people. I actually call this the cultural layer. My bad. But yeah, they killed a few Norwegian, Swedish, whatever people they are. We also see at this point Iberia has now been kind of divided into two cultures. The more northern sections, kind of more of like I don't know how to describe it, but just different compared to the other region. The south, in Catalonia, it's kind of just its own thing here. As the south, it's a completely different culture that also is here. And the Roman culture is very, very popular in Italy. See, the Roman culture was actually very friendly, surprisingly enough. No, it's that make a culture over here in the Indus good. Yeah. As you can see, I didn't even explore some lands. They're part of these different cultures. This Bangladeshi culture does exist too. But that's when we see something interesting happens with all these different cultures. Well, not even actually, I don't know why I said that. But something interesting that does happen will be back over here in the Indus Empire. More people begin to move down south here towards Myanmar, kind of Burma region. But now it's time for water break! Finally. Yeah. Yum yum. Oh, that's good. Alright. yeah, more people begin to explore down here towards Burma, mainly move. Kind of taking the Bangladeshi culture with them, but yeah, we do see the new culture forms up over here in not Bangladesh, Burma. And, yeah. We see the Bangladeshi people begin moving down the coast here. A few final more events. To start off, we see, just, general human curiosity, will be occurring as more of Arabia, all of the areas except for the more inlands, will be discovered. As we also see more of Africa will be discovered. And, yeah. So when did they control that area? I don't remember when. We also see that they'll be exploring up here in the, Tehran, Persia, Iran areas, towards Azerbaijan too. As just practically a lot of lands will be discovered. As we also see that Iran or Persian people begin to move back into Persia. See, the Persian people actually used to live up here and be part of the country of Persia. Yeah. So, yeah, we also see up here in the UAE will become Persian. Well, Mesopotamia will just expand northwards, kind of. Now we must move over here to Egypt. See, Egypt is very happy seeing the Indus Empire kind of collapse because, now they can finally become stronger. So what do? Oh, okay. They invade the South Nile country. And they begin to expand along the Nile. A little bit. As they expand to about here. And, that's about where they'll stop expanding there. Although they'll expand onto the border of this country, which, kind of fearful for these countries that, a giant Egyptian country is expanding to your borders. But it's fine. Now, the next episode is episode 7. And I must set up something more. The second ancient crusade is upon us. How? When? Well, it'll be up here in the Nordics. As the Danish are now tired of having to deal with more and more people kind of moving in and having to kill them. It's taking a lot of money away from away. So, we see Denmark will be doing some stuff. Mainly, they'll be pulling the last Germanics for, help, kind of, with this. And they're like, yeah, sure. And they do help. What is this help? Simple. Let me go to the brushstroke, yeah. Brushstrokes. If you can't tell what I'm doing, oh god, no, this is gonna be bad. Oh, okay, this is gonna be bad. If you couldn't tell what's happening, then wow, you're blind. Denmark will begin to invade Sweden due to the claiming that the Swedish military attacked them, so they're retaliating, demanding this land. So, that will be the start of the second coalition in a way. Not coalition. Ancient crusade. as this crusade will be initiated by the Danish, kind of, against the Swedish and Norwegians, due to them being very evil. So, 6th episode, what do you think? Good? Bad? Probably bad, because it took me about 2 weeks to make this episode, and I've lost a lot of my the charm, the humor. So, the next episode will be the second Ancient Crusade. I really hope you enjoy this video. Please consider leaving a like, subscribe, and try to reach 13 subscribers.